Course of today's game, but pretty impressive, Zambit is.
Cards making the trek from Palo Alto. First of 3 games in 5 days, and they'll be wearing the road whites tonight against Syracuse. The Orange have been awfully tough this season, already on the year with 6 shutouts thus far. Riding a 3-game win streak right now. Kira, we got to take a look at your Bush's blueprints for tonight. What are some of your keys?
Yeah, looking at Syracuse, setting the tempo. When this team comes out and sets the tempo and plays Syracuse hockey, they are close to unstoppable. What we saw against BC and Virginia, they came out a bit flat. So setting the tempo is going to be critical this evening. And then team style play. This is something that Coach Ange Bradley really talked about in depth. It's about setting your teammate up for success on the field. And it's evident when you look at the stat sheet. 12 different players have at least 1 assist credited to their name, 10 of those with 2 or more. So playing a selfless and together brand of hockey is all about how Cuse wants to attack this game tonight.
Absolutely. Putting some pressure on here now, looking for their first opportunity inside the circle area. At Stanford here on the road, obviously, it's going to be it's a long road trip. It's a long ride across the United States. Some of their keys tonight for success early.
Yeah, pass and join. That was something that Roz Ellis talked a lot about. It's been a key theme all season long for the Cardinal. It was something they did very well in the 5-0 win against UC Davis, and so they're really looking to continue that momentum moving into tonight's game. And have fun. This team is still working to build a roster. They're still working to really fill some seats on the roster, but also working to build their identity. They've got a ton of potential. And, again, playing ACC, Big Ten schools, always a great opportunity. So having a lot of fun out on the pitch is something that Roz Ellis wants to see her team do.
Syracuse looking to try to sustain a possession inside the 25. Just can't seem to force something continued into that circle area of play as Beats and her teammates in the back have clamped down quite a bit. A lot of high ball pressure by Syracuse. First opportunity over the midfield for Stanford, but it's taken right back away. Gutman trying to throw it upfield. Inside the circle. Here's Syracuse now with the first opportunity. It'll be a hit coming out for the Cardinals. Daisy Ford in goal tonight for, as you see, Ange Bradley looking on from the sidelines in her 16th season. Of course, winning that national championship in 2015.
Yeah, and I don't know if I've ever heard Ange Bradley talk so much about the words joy and fun. She's really embracing this team, has a lot of great personalities, and just having a lot of fun as a coach and with these student athletes.
Absolutely. A 4-time Coach of the Year. Of course, it was Syracuse that made the transition from the Big East over to the ACC, and it wasn't easy early on, but boy, Ange Bradley was able to turn the success quickly, and part of that comes obviously from her playing days at Delaware. She has that athlete mentality that it's never soon enough, and was able to turn things on quickly here at Syracuse in the transition into the ACC. Charlotte DeVries trying to run the ball down here and keep it in play, and unfortunately isn't able to control it in, so Zambits will bring the ball up to the 16. That's a good little matchup there, Suzanne, isn't it? Between Zambits and DeVries. That's a fun one.
Exactly. It's going to be a fun one to watch, how that kind of unfolds. You saw DeVries not able to contain that ball. It just dribbles off her stick. But, yeah, Leah, that's definitely a matchup to keep an eye on there.
The senior DeVries, also a national team member, and certainly her time with the national team has allowed her to develop in another position for the national team and come back and play with Syracuse. A little bit more versatility in her play belt. One of the top 10 leaders in the country in goals per game and points per game. Cuse looking to reverse Fields. Hard whistle there. A lot of patience here, Suzanne. I like the patience. I can't recall a time where I've seen just so much authoritativeness. And I'm not sure if it's the defensive scheme that Stanford is possessing right now, but Syracuse isn't afraid to go back or forward or just really put the ball where they want.
Well, and that was something that Ange Bradley shared with us. You know, the team style of play, knowing when to go and knowing when not to go, knowing when to move the ball backwards and laterally so that then you can move the ball forward, but do so with patience and with possession. And that's something that Syracuse continues to hone as the season goes on. You know, knowing when to go, knowing when not to go. You can't force that ball.
Here's a great example of it right here. Solid connections by Cuse. DeVries gets her feet around.
Well, and you saw a Stanford defense, it was all shifting. So every time that ball moves laterally throughout the backfield for Syracuse, you see the Stanford defense, their press is shifting. And so it creates openings, it creates angles. And the backfield for Syracuse has fantastic vision. They can thread the ball up a line or two. And so to get that defense for Stanford shifting is really a key element to Syracuse's success.
Stanford trying to match up just a little bit tighter here. As Joy Harmon will set for the side in. Harmon, another player out of the Netherlands, using her graduate studies as an opportunity to continue on here. Harmon's certainly one of those players that has that elite international mindset, coming off 4 goals here thus far in 2022.
Yeah, Coach Ange Bradley talked about Joy Harmon, and her unbelievable work rate just elevates the work ethic of the entire team. And that was a great example there, Leah, of that team style play. It was a quick little one touch right outside the circle to get a better angle to then penetrate the circle. A great opportunity, unfortunately found a foot. You see Roz Ellis there.
Roz coming in, hired at Stanford in June of 2021, and came to the farm as a longtime assistant. Her pedigree as an assistant coach last with Iowa and the Hawkeyes, but certainly one of the younger, up-and-coming younger coaches in the country for field hockey, no question about it. Syracuse has now been inside the 25 5 times, and the defense from Stanford hanging tough. No shots on goal just yet for the Cuse. Dutman staying with it, with Megan Frost hanging on her. She gets the call and the whistle. They'll have to bring it back for the free hit.
Well, and that's where the size of a player like Dutman, you look at the Syracuse lineup, they've got some very tall players. Dutman stands a tall 5'10", and she's got those long arms and long legs. And so to be able to, tackle and then, really get your stick in there and try and make a play on an opponent, to have those 5'10" arms, it's very helpful.
Lana Hamilton trying to keep it in. As As Cuse gains control, looks to rebuild again. Here's Van de Nieuwenhof up to DeVries. Charlotte DeVries is sometimes best on her backhand, so you have to be careful how you're trying to tackle her or take that ball away from her. Number 6, Lika Legenhanners with the ball. Legenhanners up to DeVries. Trying to create that third-party call. Do they get it? Yes, they do. DeVries trying to work quickly here on the free hit. And taken away.
You see Nieuwenhof, though, now changing the structure of the Syracuse defense. That's the whole togetherness, the team style of play. You know, you see the structure now change. Nieuwenhof is not the center back, but she's up playing as a, you know, a defensive midfielder or, you know, an attacking defenseman. So fun to watch some of these, you know, nuances play out. You'll see they'll now kind of change back to their original structure, but you know, interesting to get Nieuwenhof up involved in the attack a little bit more.
Stanford has been given a green card, so the player advantage for Syracuse, and off of that, so while Megan Frost sits and Stanford is a player down, we're going to have a referral opportunity here.
So the call on the field, Leah, is that the ball is coming out.
Benjamin Peters, you see, is our video review person. They're looking for a foot inside the circle.
So the original call on the field, Leah, is that the ball did bounce off Char DeVries' foot. It's a hit coming out for Stanford. It's really quite tough to see kind of how that ping-ponged. Whether it came off Char DeVries' foot.
After video review, the call is overturned. It is a penalty corner, and Syracuse will retain the referral.
You hear Benjamin Peters with the call off of the review. So the first opportunity for a corner for Syracuse. And as Ange Bradley and her team will retain their corner opportunity, and especially here with a player down, Van de Nieuwenhof back into the lineup. She has one of the strongest strikes at the top. Well, obviously have to keep an eye on as well Charlotte DeVries, who loves that backhand shot.
Yeah, you know, you talk about Nieuwenhof. She might, Leah, have one of, if not the most voracious shot in NCAA hockey. You know, she's definitely one to watch on these attack penalty corners, you know, and this is something in APC, Ange Bradley said their execution has been just okay because of some of the injuries.
3-1, guys. 3-1. Yeah.
Willemijn Bogaerts will insert.
Stay straight out.
DeVries Takes a swipe at it. Rebound is wide and still in play. And it'll be hit coming out. Syracuse asking to take a look at it too. They will also review it. Rosellis looking on.
Okay, she was saying Syracuse said it hit a snap. Is Syracuse asking for a penalty corner for a snap.
So you saw Joy Harmon immediately pop up. She saw that ball bounce off a Stanford's foot. So, you know, again, Syracuse going to the video referral system. You see this ball come in. And right there, that's a great shot by our crew there for our replay, showing that ball ricochet off Molly Redgrove's right foot. And I think Syracuse, again, is going to be correct in this video referral.
After video review, the call on the field is overturned as a penalty corner, and Syracuse will retain the referral.
Very good. So second opportunity here for Syracuse on the corner. And let's take a listen in as we hear the defense for Stanford now getting set on how they are going to run out and attack this Syracuse squad at the top of the circle. Yeah, they're being secretive, Suzanne.
I know. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a little switch up in the defensive penalty corner unit, because, and right there you saw the velocity off the stick of Van den Nieuwenhof. You know, at some point, Leah, because you've got Char de Vries and Van den Nieuwenhof at the top of the circle, I would not be surprised to see Stanford run a 2-2. You got to be able to hit both batteries because of that exact scenario. There's a lot of movement at the top of the circle, and that just ricochets off the post, just missing. A nicely executed corner there, just missing by an inch or two.
Right, that's the right spot, right? You want to be off of those posts. You aim for those posts in your practice shots, and it was really from the insert, Suzanne. I thought nicely done, good trap up top, and then nice soft pass between de Vries and Van den Nieuwenhof.
Yes.
So just coming into the circle for Syracuse now. Held whistle. See Daisy Ford directing traffic for the Stanford Cardinal. And we are back to even strength now with Megan Frost, the senior from Charlotte, North Carolina, back onto the field. Van den Nieuwenhof missing 4 games on the season. But that also was a little bit of a gift for some of the other players who might not have had an opportunity to play, according to Ange Bradley. So adversity helping out the squad in the long term. Syracuse has certainly held a time of possession. That's S.J. Quigley, the senior from Villanova, Pennsylvania. One of the key playmakers back in 2021. Hasn't scored yet this season. Gotta love the way that Van den Nieuwenhof, who has the ball right now, she gathers that ball in, and you can see her scanning with her eyes. Does a nice job of it. Bogarts inside the circle here. Coleman's.
Well, Leah, you hit it 1,000% on the head. That play all started with Van den Nieuwenhof's vision. And she saw the opening up the spine. She's communicating that up to her midfield and into her attackers as that dangerous ball enters in. You know, it all starts with Van den Nieuwenhof. I can't say enough great things about what she brings to the Syracuse team.
Good throw upfield. And that will end the first quarter of play. It's East versus West. Stanford versus Syracuse. No score after one.
People around the country rallied together to get this program back on its feet. You know, it's been an absolute incredible journey for, you know, some of these players who have stuck it out and really faced the utmost gut-wrenching adversity, but so grateful to be on the pitch playing with their sisters still today.
Yeah, absolutely. And to think that while this was all transpiring, they went back, they played the season. They ended up losing to the eventual champion in North Carolina in the Elite Eight 2-0. And they were almost there, and they were able to maintain their focus. Not surprised. I don't think any of us were surprised because of the type of student athletes that they are. But they played through it, and they played through it together. And so glad to see that the program was reinstated because of certainly everything that it has meant to the game of field hockey, what it has meant to these young ladies for what they're trying to provide to the sport.
Yeah, we got the opportunity to talk with Isabel Pilson and Megan Frost, and they used the term, we now have a ride or die mindset for the people who stuck around, you know, dealt with the blows that we were given, and, you know, it was life-changing, and they wouldn't change it. Just it's character building what they've had to go through.
Got to respect as well. There's no question about it. Some of these programs, it's very draining on their budgets to make that trip west to play schools like UC Davis and Stanford and Cal. But all these, we know what the field hockey family's about, right? And they'll do anything to promote the sport as well. And this is a part of it today. So as we begin this second quarter of play, Syracuse has been inside the 25 11 times. 3 shots, 2 corners, no goals yet. Stanford has been unable to sustain any type of attack thus far from the lower third of the field. Once again, going back to that solid defense that we've seen from Syracuse thus far this season. Of the 6 shutouts during that time, they had a 26-0 advantage in goals. And during this 3-game win streak, they have outscored opponents 11-1. So pretty spectacular defense by the backs. Sunday's best next week. We have women's soccer and volleyball for you in a quadruple header. Boston College squares off against Louisville to start the afternoon off at noon. Then 3 volleyball matches. Number 9 Pitt against number 10 Georgia Tech. Notre Dame and BC. And then to close out the night, it's North Carolina State and Wake Forest to cap the day. All 4 games right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app.
You know, Leah, I've been impressed with Stanford's defense. They're doing a pretty good job keeping a very possessive. I mean, Syracuse is doing a really good job possessing this ball. But, you know, Stanford is bending, but they're not breaking. They haven't given up a goal yet, only 2 corners. Syracuse continues to knock on the door. But I've been really impressed with the composure coming out of the backfield for Stanford so far this match.
Van Nieuwenhof trying to force the defense. Is Pegram now with the ball. Sienna. You see that glove on that right hand. A little bit different glove, but it works, right? It's a lacrosse glove. Protect the injury.
Yeah, Pegram ended up having surgery after an injury. Looks like we're going to have a card.
Anna McLean with the green card. So Syracuse now will be a player down here off the green card. Legan Hunters will have a seat, and so we'll see if over the next minute 45 if Stanford can use this to their advantage.
Yeah, you know, this was a defensive miscue by Syracuse. You see Pegram trying to outlet that ball, and unfortunately, too close is a teammate, finds a foot. Look at that camera angle, Leah. It's awesome.
Love the Chucky cam. One of the great angles to bring you the corner opportunities here this evening at Syracuse.
10. Here we go, 10.
No. Put them on, come on. Yeah.
We're good.
Oh, 10. Now, go.
Ready?
Scout Butler to insert. Little movement at the top of the circle. Deflected out in front. And knocked away. It will be a side in for Van den Nieuwenhof. And Syracuse looking for somebody on the attack to come and take her, but does not happen. Has some freedom there. Back to Stanford.
You see some of the players still with their defensive penalty corner unit. Obviously, Pegram wearing that hand to protect it, but Nieuwenhof still hasn't taken off her DPC gear yet. Looks like now she has, but she has up until the 25. New this season, she has until the 25-yard mark to remove that gear.
Give these defenders so much credit as Cuse gets inside the circle here. I would keep it on certainly as long as possible too. Ken Diaz looking to Anna McLean, and that's part of the teamwork that they have. This will be a hit, long hit actually for Syracuse. Held whistle, free ball, and it goes all the way across the circle. Zabitz trying to work into some freedom there. She is so calm.
Yeah.
Number 7, back in for Stanford. Along with Ella Donasis.
Provides a lot of great composure in that backfield, and a nice little one-touch outlet there.
Push from behind. And the whistle on the play. Will we see a card? And we will. Ella Donasis will pick up the card. Freshman. She and her twin sister Bella on the squad. A great story. They started playing field hockey a short time ago and fell in love with the game, actually going to a tournament at Stanford, and then a few years later find themselves on the pitch for real in a Stanford uniform.
Yeah, you know, Ella and Bella growing up playing soccer, so they understand the positioning you know, of the sport overall, but really fell in love with the game of field hockey once they gave it a try.
Had an opportunity as well, looked to coming to the East Coast to play at Princeton, but felt that they kind of wanted to stay at home and be close to their family in California, and decided to continue on with a great education at Stanford and play hockey on the West Coast. Stanford will retain possession. Megan Frost, part of that two-time America East Championship squad, second teamer in America East. Marina Coleman's there with the play to keep that ball in possession for Syracuse as the Orange looking to change over the fields now, try to move things quickly onto the outside. Nice
take there by Bogert.
Yeah, goodness.
Bogert looking for the call.
Yeah, really important to the structure of this midfield play for Syracuse and showing some of her talents there with that spin. Suzanne, the Stanford team hasn't been consistent inside the circle. They've held this highly potent offense as Cuse will retain possession here off the whistle. Scoreless. How does that build on their confidence? We're going to have a corner call here, even though that ball was outside the circle play as the foul was on Rosie Winter. How does this type of confidence help the Cardinal here early on the road?
Well, they have only given up 3 corners, only 1 shot on cage. 3 shots total. You saw that ball come up into Rose Winter off her own stick, so that's an automatic corner in favor of the Orange. They're competing. They're playing a great brand of hockey. They're executing their game plan thus far, and so of course that's going to build confidence as the game progresses.
Daisy Forden at 1.91 goals against average, and her defense getting set. Here's the corner opportunity. DeVries takes a swipe at it, and she scores. Charlotte DeVries with the first goal of the game, her 11th of the season.
You saw Char DeVries take this ball, pulls it to her right, waits for the pressure, and you see Stanford actually playing a low box there. Nobody comes up and takes on the striker. So Char DeVries waiting for the pressure, doesn't have it. She says, okay, I'll just sweep the ball, finds the opposite post. Syracuse now up on that corner call, 1-0.
It was interesting to see from the goalie cam, Suzanne, just the shift movement, and that shift wasn't a long stride to the left, and it was amazing just how pinpoint DeVries was, and kind of just shows the rifleness in her forehand shot as well.
Yes. Yeah, she's dangerous on both sides of the stick. Obviously, she would prefer to pull that to her left side and take that on the reverse, but she said, you know what? I can take it on my forehand too.
Exactly. DeVries leads the squad in 4 different offensive categories on the year, including shots and points and goals. Now alone in the goal department. Here's our Week 6 college football lineup for Saturday on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Virginia hosts Louisville at noon Eastern, and then Virginia Tech is in Pittsburgh to take on the Panthers. The day is capped off in primetime on the ACC, a matchup between Florida State and number 14 NC State at 9 p.m. Let's see how the Cardinal respond here. Is on Beats, puts it back into play. They're trying to go down the spine of the field, but taken right away. Here's DeVries on the outside, trying to work herself in. Giuliani takes it away. Fina Scoot there as well. As we move under 3 minutes to play here, and the first ball in front, and a corner opportunity for Syracuse. Syracuse squad has been solid when they score first, as Beats may have taken one in the mouth, Suzanne.
Yeah, you know, you see Char DeVries looks to take that ball, and unfortunately it just bounces oddly up into the mouth of one of Stanford's defenders. It was on beat, yeah.
DeVries trying to slide in as we see our lower field cam trying to get out of the way here as Bogerts looks over for the opportunity on this, the fourth chance in circle play for Cuse. Oh, and no chance. It comes up off the pad, and it's good for a goal. May have been tipped off of DeVries' shot. Let's see what they say. But right now, it looks like Charlotte DeVries has picked up her second goal of the game.
Well, and keep an eye on Karina Comans, too, who finds herself right in front. You see that ball does, in fact, lift up, and she jumps up. I think Comans got a tip on this ball. You see her right in front.
Yes.
She does, in fact, deflect that.
Yeah, very nicely done. Having that stick in the right direction there. And Comans now with back-to-back goals. Previous game and this game to now have 11 on the season to be tied with DeVries. And Syracuse with a 2-0 lead.
Well, you know, Leah, when we talked with Coach Ange Bradley, and she was just saying, you know, her corner execution has been okay, to say the least. Well, I think she's going to feel pretty good moving into the half at what her team has done thus far, sitting at 50% execution rate here on APCs.
Absolutely. She kind of chuckled with us about it. You know, I don't know. But they certainly have the rifles, right, of the tools to be deep when it comes to that. And actually, we were talking to Jen Averill about that today as we prep for Friday's game against Louisville. And she said, you know, we're pretty deep this year, the corner options as well.
Yeah, you know, we're seeing that kind of resounding capability across the country, really, as players continue to utilize their COVID year and recruiting fresh talent. So, you know, it's really making some deep benches. It's helping out APCs, DPCs, you know, extra bodies on lines. And, you know, I feel like we've heard that from almost every coach we've talked with so far this season.
Cuse keeping the pressure on here with about 1:10 to go in this first half of play, second quarter action. Don't go too far away as well at the half. Got a great little halftime piece coming up for you on Sammy Swart. And also Suzanne and I will be taking a look at the upcoming ACC tournament, which is around the corner. Before you know it, we will be in Durham this year.
One more month, Leah. It seems crazy.
I know, season's gone by so fast. I'm sure it's definitely gone by faster for some of the graduate students and fifth-year players who know that this is the end of the run. Plenty of time here for Stanford. Can they get one more run inside the circle? Gooden trying to work quickly. They'll have to bring it back out, and because of that, they will run out of time here in this second quarter. outside edge, obviously, right now, being 2-0 in conference play for that top seed, but it really is wide open.
An egregious foul outside the circle. That's a corner call in favor of Syracuse.
Take a look at the first half stats as the defense is setting up for Stanford. And certainly the numbers favoring the time of possession that Syracuse had, Suzanne. You know, how if you're Ann Bradley just being tedious on those numbers, trying to correlate that into goals here in the third quarter.
Yeah, you know, 19 times Syracuse made their way into the 25. So the fact that they only have 3 shots on goal, that's definitely something that they're going to kind of pick apart moving into this weekend.
Quick movement up top, and it works in succession. 3 for 3 in the last 3 corners for Syracuse, and they now lead it with the lucky 3-0.
And again, you see this ball come out to the top of the circle. It's Charlotte DeVries to who else? Van den Nieuwenhof finding the back of the cage with so much velocity. The fact that she is able to one-touch that ball, get her feet in a great position to get that much velocity. She finds the far post. I mean, wow, I would not want to be a defender in the line of when Van den Nieuwenhof tees up.
That was in slow motion, and it looked like it was almost in real time. And and goodness, it really just took the top edge of the 18-inch board too.
Yeah,
I mean it was awesome.
And on the initial shot, you know, that's where it has to hit in order for it to be a not dangerous ball coming in.
Van den Nieuwenhof's 4th of the season. And a quick strike here by Syracuse. Charlotte DeVries picking up the assist on that one. And she now has a goal and 2 assists in this game. So obviously Charlotte DeVries, you know, it's interesting. We've watched Charlotte throughout her career and how she has maneuvered through the many different places. We were talking about this pregame. Number of different players that Syracuse has brought in, Suzanne. But it seems like Charlotte has taken her game to a different level of play. Would you attribute that to her national team play or just over time?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, going to see the pace of play, and you see actually right on cue, DeVries getting that corner call in favor of Syracuse. You know, being able to go see international level of play and the pace of play and the skill set that these international players have, to be able to bring that back to your team. Obviously, she's got some international teammates, but that just elevates her game. Her ability to play against, you know, really quality international players and bring that experience back to her team is invaluable.
The insert, the slide, Van den Nieuwenhof with a shot in the goal. Number 4 for Syracuse, 2nd of the game for Van den Nieuwenhof.
It is not Groundhog Day, Leah. But you just saw the exact same corner executed to a T. The ball comes out to Charlotte DeVries. She passes it back to Van den Nieuwenhof, who again one-touches the ball, finds the far post. Same exact corner, same exact result for Syracuse.
Sammy Swart having some fun on the sidelines. Bringing some of that lacrosse the fun from the sidelines over to the field hockey squad, no doubt about it. With that assist, Charlotte DeVries has now set a new career high in assists on the season, snapping the last 2 years, where she had 3 assists in both of those seasons. So
I mean, can we just...
up.
Sorry, Leah. Can we just talk about the fact that Syracuse has drawn 6 corners and they have scored on 4 of them?
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
That is incredible. And again, as time winds down on the season and everyone is playing solid, it's the corner. It could come down to corner execution, and Syracuse has shown us today that they're ready. They're ready to take it to the next level.
Well, and if Ange Bradley had any hesitations or thought that, Vanden Nieuwenhof still was working to get back into kind of the swing of things in that attack penalty corner coming off, her injury, I think she can shed those fears now. Obviously, Vanden Nieuwenhof able to execute 2 perfect corners from her striker position. I think she's got the timing back.
ACC PM with Mark Packer, Trey Boston, Tyler Tannenbaum. They'll talk football, highlights, everything that's going on around the ACC weekdays 4 Eastern right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Exactly. Roz Ellis looking on, and a former standout at Iowa, went back as an assistant, has kind of toured a little bit as an assistant coach with Louisville. It stops at UMass as well in the A-10. Appalachian State, some time at Wake Forest with Jen Averill. We talk about some good people to learn the game from as a head coach. Roz Ellis has taken that path, no doubt about it.
Well, and she's just absolutely empowering her student athletes. The one mantra that they live by day in and day out, our ceiling has no limits. And so she just wants to empower these student athletes on the pitch and beyond. And, these student athletes have just bought into everything that Roz stands for. We got to, I mentioned earlier, we got to talk with Megan Frost and Izzy Pilson, and they got to be part of, the hiring process of Roz Ellis, and they knew the minute after they interviewed her that this was the coach they wanted to be led by. And, Roz Ellis just empowering her student athletes.
It was interesting to listen to Izzy Pilson say that, it's really not about us and our team too. We went into that interview thinking about the future players and the long-term vision, and we could see that Roz had what we would want as Sammy Sport enters the game for this program. And I can't say if I was in those players' position that I would have had that long-term thought immediately. But that was pretty impressive, them saying that.
Yeah, very, very mature perspective. But again, these athletes for Stanford have faced such adversity, and they understand that they are laying the foundation, for the next 10 years and beyond of Stanford field hockey. And so it was important for them to find somebody that they knew that could withstand maybe having a couple of rough seasons, because they know they're going to have some growing pains moving forward. And they really felt that Roz Ellis embodied what they want to build the foundation on the shoulders of.
Absolutely. Just outside the circle of foot, they'll bring that ball back. It will be held by Syracuse. You see the shots on goal in this game. 6-0 in favor of the Cuse.
I really like the patience that Syracuse has been showing. They've been very possessive. Obviously coming up with a great turnover there, again with defensive patience. So they're showing it on both sides of the ball. Another good build-up opportunity for the Cuse attack. Sammy Swart, we're going to get a shot off.
Impressed with Sammy. You know, she went right from February of last year through the lacrosse season. Played in the World's Sixes, won a silver medal with the U.S. squad in Birmingham, and then immediately left there and changed sticks to a field hockey stick, and still motoring along. That's pretty impressive. You figure the grind of a student athlete.
Yeah, you know, even more so impressive, you know, this next weekend, Syracuse will play UNC on Friday the 14th, and actually Sammy's going to go the next day and play for the U.S. women's national lacrosse team. They have an off day, and the U.S. women's team will actually take on the defending national champions in lacrosse in UNC. So she'll be facing UNC field hockey and lacrosse all in one weekend. Pretty fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, absolutely. And if you ever have an opportunity to go down to Spark, Maryland, where the field hockey, where the lacrosse complex is there for Team USA, where they train, it's a great chance for youngsters to get autographs and to watch the best of the best play. So the men's and women's teams will be taking on Maryland and North Carolina on that Saturday. There'll be a showcase on Friday, and then Sammy Swart and the women's squad will take on Carolina that Saturday at noontime. So there is a fee for that. You can look at it on USA Lacrosse's website, but a super opportunity for anyone who likes sports and wants to be right on top some of the best lacrosse as well in the world. Closing in on 4.5 here to go in the third quarter of play. Stanford with the ball, trailing by 4. Hard whistle here as Van de Nieuwenhof moves off ball. Let's see, as a whistle is distributed and a card is distributed as well on Stanford.
Yeah, that was just delaying the free hit by Syracuse, and because that was delaying the game, that's why the card was issued.
Villaganosi with the card. She'll have a seat for 2 minutes on the play. And again, this is the first of 3 on the road for Stanford, fitting in one of their America East games against Albany. That will be on Friday, and then they'll continue on and travel to Providence, Rhode Island, to take on Bryant College on Sunday before they head back out to California to the farm. And next week get set to take on Cal at home.
Yeah, that's just grueling. You see their upcoming schedule. 3 games in 5 days, Leah. You better believe, you know, and you're traveling, you're flying cross country. That's a lot to recover from as an athlete. You know, it's grueling. But, you know, again, when you play field hockey and you want to stay on the West Coast, unfortunately that's part of the deal. You got to be able to face that adversity, traveling cross country. Playing 3 games in 5 days obviously isn't ideal, but again, Roz Ellis wants, you know, her players to be able to compete with, you know, Big Ten opponents, ACC opponents, and it's an opportunity for them to grow and to learn more about themselves and become a better field hockey team.
Absolutely, and preparing them for the America East Championship. A little bit different type of format for America East Championship play. The top 6 teams will participate in the America East Championship, and through that will be November 3rd through the 6th. So they'll have that traditional, I guess you would say, timestamp leading into the NCAAs. But they move to the highest seed at the end of the tournament, so it could be somewhere. Could be Maine, could be Stanford. Of course, the America East also, like the ACC, gets one of those automatic bids to the NCAAs. The card has been changed to a yellow card. So you see the time, certainly, if you're wondering if the time built, well, yeah, it did build up just a little bit because it is actually a yellow card and not a green card. So a big advantage here for Syracuse is they're able to actually carry this advantage into the fourth quarter, and they will have a corner opportunity with 1:07 to go here in the third.
Yeah, and with those yellow cards, Leah, it's either a 5-minute penalty or a 10-minute penalty. It depends on what the infraction is. So Bella issued a 5-minute penalty. See that ball just finds the foot there of Megan Frost. Getting yet another corner opportunity for Syracuse. Again, we see some familiar faces in the striker positions for the Orange.
Bogert inserts. Oh, and the first faux pas. Forced effort, it gets into their hands, and can they retain it? They cannot. It goes right back to Syracuse, and S.J. Quigley trying to move quickly here.
And that's just a missed trap there, miscommunication. The ball slides in between Char DeVries and her stick stop.
Purple item number 32. Re-enters for the Orange.
I think Cuse will be just as content to work this ball around and let the time wind down here in this third quarter of play. If they move quickly here, about 14 seconds, they might be able to at least garner a corner opportunity. And it is a long hit. Or actually a hit coming out, excuse me. And that'll do it for this third quarter of play. And also moving up as far as career assists, having her best assist mark of her 4 years here at Syracuse. So the final 15 minutes.
Yeah, Leah, if they continue executing corners the way they have today, she's definitely going to rocket up the assist chart.
Retaining possession and really connecting very nicely. Has Syracuse done it? Really, aside from that, as they start the fourth here with the player advantage. And inside the circle, the reverse shot. Nice rejection there by Daisy Ford. She comes out, makes the save again 2 or 3 times. And off of a foot, it will be a corner.
I think Syracuse or Stanford is going to call for a review here.
Syracuse is asking for no penalty corner. Stanford, my apologies. Yeah, I will look at that for you.
So no infraction throughout there. Again, Daisy Ford doing a good job coming out, putting pressure on the ball, and yet another shot from Syracuse. I did not see an infraction there from that angle, Leah.
Wilhelmine Bogarts gave a slight indication that maybe it came up off of her in this sequence in here.
And it might have been Gooden there off the rebound, off the pads of Ford. Let's see where this lands here against Gooden. I can't tell if it redirected there or not off the back of her shin pad. or if that was just off of her stick.
Ben Peters still having a look at it now and trying to find that right angle. Looks like he has a decision.
There is no clear reason to change a decision. Stay with the penalty corner. Stanford will lose their referral.
Daisy Ford looking over to the bench right now as Roz Ellis and the Stanford squad will get set defensively for Syracuse and the corner opportunity play. You know, we haven't mentioned Laura Graziosi, the senior, who's up on top of that circle, Suzanne. Certainly been a big piece of the offensive attack, but with so many different options, you know, she's kind of, I wouldn't say been forgotten, but it's interesting how things have flowed so much differently now in their offensive attack.
Yeah, you know, but she's involved at every capacity. Even though she might be the unsung hero and not getting the accolades, she's a part of it. Her off-ball movement and her vision is feeding her attack. And so while we haven't said her name a whole lot, she has definitely been involved quietly.
Had the big stop there off the initial stop shot by DeVries. Syracuse still in possession of the ball. Nice block and takeaway there by Redgrove of Stanford.
Yes, ass. Good job, ass.
Syracuse continuing to work at a pretty quick tempo. Not ready to let off the gas pedal yet.
Little 3D action.
Love it.
Let's see if they can build on it. Vanderstickle. Tapped and taken away. DeVries. Nice job on the tackle there by Zombits.
Yeah, great defensive stand there by Zombits. So composed. You know how crafty Charlotte DeVries can be as she enters the circle, but again, Zombit just super composed, super calm, comes up with that ball. Stanford ball coming out.
Zombits is a great story. With everything that was going on with Stanford and the late hiring, I guess you would say, of Roz Ellis, you know, pieces had to be put in place. They weren't able to recruit a goalkeeper so late, and it was Zombits after 11 games of 2021 for Stanford not playing with the goalkeeper that Zombits was really a most valuable player.
Yeah, you know, only 13 players were on the roster for Stanford last season. Zombit actually broke her thumb. She couldn't hold the stick, so she said, you know what? Back in the day, I used to suit up and wear the pads. Let me take one for the team. We talked at the top of the hour, Leah, of her dedication, sticking around, staying at Stanford after all the adversity, and, you know, really showed her dedication to an entirely new level by putting the pads on and playing goalkeeper for 3 games with a broken thumb.
With a broken thumb. So talk about inspiring your teammates as we have a stoppage of play here on the field. Anna Goliani may have taken a ball or might have collided with someone, a freshman out of Australia. Seems to be okay, which is great.
Goliani, known as tiny but super mighty to all her teammates. A little sassy, but in a good way. An aggressive sassy.
Gotta have sassy in you.
Yeah.
Van der Nieuwenhof trying to go up the middle of the field, looking for someone to break free with a big ball.
Such great vision from the backfield.
Absolutely. Goodness, look at the pressure here by Syracuse. And Van de Nieuwenhof taking one up into the face. Oh, she's smiling, so that's good. That's always good.
Yes, agreed. Giving her sideline a little thumbs up there.
Louise Pert in goal now for Syracuse here. The sophomore, 5'10", out of Ireland. That's pretty good size in the cage for the Cuse here. Down the stretch, ball out in front off of a foot, and we will have a corner. This will be the fifth time that Pert has gotten into a game this season down the opposite end of the field. We'll take a look at where the corner opportunity happens here.
Yeah, it was upon right outside the circle. It hit the foot as it was coming in, and because Stanford came up with that ball, it took the advantage away from Syracuse, so it went ahead and called a corner call in favor of the Orange.
Sociology major S.J. Quigley will insert. Giving Bogerts a little bit of a breather. Another option as an inserter for Syracuse. Van de Nieuwenhof flips it. Ball is still free in front. And be a long hit now for Syracuse. Coleman's unable to get anything on that play.
So Van de Nieuwenhof making sure that ball did in fact leave the circle and come back in. Tries to dish it off quickly to Char DeVries, but not a very clean executed corner, and Stanford able to kind of stifle any kind of attack that Syracuse was trying to put together there on that corner.
Here's Coleman's now just outside the circle. A little give and go action, re-intercepted by Stanford, and they'll have a long hit. Syracuse is. Van de Nieuwenhof with a big sweep inside the circle. And it is a corner off of a foot. 13 shots for Syracuse thus far. As we were talking a couple of weeks ago that said, just give me something on goal. Was it Kelly Doughton? Because Syracuse is certainly taking a page out of that tonight.
Yeah, you know, and Syracuse, a team that outshoots their opponent by about 230%, Leah. 206 shots coming into today's game against opponents' 86. So pretty stout defense, but they put up some big offensive numbers.
Big swipe at it. Nice save by Ford. And the clear out of the circle. She got a good look at it as she went flat.
Yeah. You know, and as a goalkeeper, you have a split second to read what your attack penalty corner opponents are doing. You have to look at the hands and say, okay, is it, you know, and Syracuse isn't known for a drag flick. So you know you're going to get a nice flat ball. And so that was well played there by Daisy Ford to go ahead and lay down and take that initial straight shot again on the ground.
And the score the Orange, along with the 4, number 4.
Saturday morning, the ACC Huddle crew will get you all set for a full day of college football. They'll have halftime shows, pre- and post-game shows throughout the day, and at 6:30 p.m., it's a complete wrap-up of the afternoon games leading up to prime time for that big matchup between Florida State and NC State on the ACC Network at 8 p.m. It's all right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app. Good connection by Syracuse. Here's DeVries trying to walk the end line. Eliminate defenders. Can she get it on that backhand? There it goes. Ford with the save.
Well read there by Daisy Ford in cage for Stanford. You know, Stanford knows that Charlotte DeVries loves her backhand, and just right at Daisy Ford, but again, well read off the stick. Char DeVries so crafty inside the circle, able to get that on her, what she considers her strong side.
Stanford will have to bring the ball back. Molly Redgrove, the senior biology major out of England. Zambeats with the pause. Great job by Stanford here in this connection to come back to the ball. And the ball goes to the outside. Here's Pilson. Izzy looking for some room. Slides it forward. Nice little one touch by Butler. Van den Nieuwenhof has been all over the field, contributing with 2 goals today, and there with a defensive takeaway, and she'll lead the charge in the outlet here of the 16. But she'll have to bring that ball back a little bit, kind of cheating a little bit there, trying to work it. But the clock continues to run. Under 5 minutes to go now. Great throw up ahead. Syracuse looking to get it into the circle area. Zambeats trying to control it. Does not have the numbers in that very difficult angle of play. And the return throw downfield. A little bit of confusion on the field as that ball needs to be able to come down into that space.
Well, and the receiver, you have to give the receiver 5 yards when it comes to those aerial balls and be able to control that ball.
Big weekend of field hockey here at Syracuse. This is the first of 2 home games on the weekend. They'll be going out of conference again on Sunday against their Ivy League friend from New York State in Cornell. And part of that will be the first retirement of a field hockey jersey and the first retirement of a field hockey jersey in an outdoor stadium such as Coyne. As Julie Williamson, who was an integral part of the growth, really true, of the field hockey program, as it will be a long hit. Julie was on the first 4 years of the field hockey program here at Syracuse, and on Sunday she will be recognized in having her jersey retired. What an honor for any player, and it really says a lot about what she has meant to the program.
Well, and I know Ange Bradley is so excited for her team to celebrate Julie Williamson and the foundation that she built here at Syracuse. They're all going to celebrate together, the team, the current team, the alumni, Julie Williamson and her family. They're going to go, I think, do some games, fun and games at Apex there locally. Which is so fun that, you know, the current team gets to mingle with the alumni and the great Julie Williamson over the weekend as she gets her jersey retired.
Field hockey, obviously, in the family blood, as Julie's daughter playing it, currently playing at Ithaca right now. So we hit 2 minutes to go in this match between Syracuse and Stanford. And then after that 2-game run for Syracuse here at home, it's back to ACC play for 2 of the last 3. They'll have a real difficult trek. It'll be an exciting game, there's no question about it, after what we've seen tonight at Carolina on the 14th. That's the weekend that Sam Swart will stay in Carolina, and play Carolina, but in lacrosse the following day. And then Louisville, they'll close it out as far as ACC play is concerned. And then they'll take on Big Ten opponent Rutgers, who made a nice run as well, before finishing off with Wake.
There's still a tough slate ahead. Anytime you get into conference play in the ACC, it's a tough match.
Some of your thoughts as we wind down the final minute here, Suzanne, especially with the way that Syracuse has commanded this game tonight.
Well, you know, when we started talking about this game, you know, it was an opportunity. We looked at it because Syracuse has had some of those injuries and they've had to shuffle the deck quite a bit. This was an opportunity to hone, to sharpen some of their pieces. And I have to say, their attack penalty corner units were striking on all cylinders. All 4 of their goals coming off APCs. They're looking really, really sharp in that. And they possessed the ball extremely well. You know, Stanford, while they didn't put up big offensive numbers, I think defensively they played very well. There was some good structure there. They got... you heard some great communication from their defensive penalty corner unit, so there's still some great takeaways, even though they've gotten shut out this evening.
One last run for Stanford. Unfortunately, the clock will run out on their time here this afternoon against number 11 Syracuse. And with that, the Cuse now winning their 4th